Here we go.
Hello and welcome to Bounding into Comics. My name is John Trent. I'm the founder and editor-in-chief at Bounding into Comics. Today I got a story about Obi-Wan Kenobi writer Joby Harold seemingly revealing that he had no idea that Obi-Wan Kenobi knew that Anakin Skywalker was indeed Darth Vader. So let's get to the story right here. Wrote this article up earlier today. Headline, Obi-Wan Kenobi writer appears to be oblivious of Revenge of the Sith. Has no clue Kenobi knew Anakin was Darth Vader. Speaking with The Wrap, Harold revealed he didn't originally pitch Kenobi, not knowing that Darth Vader survived their battle. He said, that was actually not something I pitched originally. That was something I discovered along the way and sort of had to confirm with Pablo Hidalgo and really think, hold on a second, what does he actually know? And so there's nothing wrong with that there. If you read the, I believe it's 2014 Obi-Wan Kenobi novel, that was the case as well, that Kenobi did not realize that Vader perished on Mustafar after their battle, and then he was actually rescued by the Emperor and then given the machine suit. But so from there, he listed off a string of questions, with one of them implying he and the team at Lucasfilm working on this show do not realize that Obi-Wan Kenobi knows that Anakin Skywalker is Darth Vader. So this is what he continued his line of questioning. Does he know the moniker Vader? What does that mean? Can he associate the two? What was he cognizant of? How isolated is he? Where's Vader at that time? Where's his reputation and how well known is he? And all those pieces of the puzzle. But this is the part where we want to kind of home in on here. Does he know the moniker Vader? What would that mean? Clearly, he knows the moniker Vader. Anyone who watched Revenge of the Sith knows that, and we'll get to that in a little bit here. But the fact that your showrunner from Obi-Wan Kenobi is asking these questions and doesn't really know this, and he's asking someone else instead of maybe actually watching the films, kind of just shows you where the quality level is for the Disney Plus shows and where it's kind of always been, in my opinion. I know there's some people that disagree with that, but that's pretty much been my opinion from the very beginning with the Disney Plus shows. The quality has not been there, whether that's the set design, the writing, the characterization, the storylines. It's all been kind of quite low quality across the board, and that includes The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. But so let's just get into what actually happens in Revenge of the Sith. So if you actually watch Revenge of the Sith, which seemingly Joby Harold did not do, if you remember, after recalibrating the code to warn Jedi to stay away from Coruscant, Kenobi views a security recording of Anakin killing Jedi and younglings in the temple, the Jedi Temple. It then cuts to Skywalker kneeling before Darth Sidious, or Vader kneeling before Darth Sidious. Sidious tells him, "You have done well, my new apprentice. Now, Lord Vader, go and bring peace to the Empire." You can see right here, he's clearly referring to him as Vader. Kenobi is watching this security recording. After viewing the security footage, Yoda tells Obi-Wan, "Twisted by the dark side, young Skywalker has become. The boy you trained, gone he is, consumed by Darth Vader." So Yoda's trying to strengthen Kenobi's resolve to go and kill his former best friend, who has now become Darth Vader, and this is kind of how he does it. You can see here again, consumed by Darth Vader is what Yoda says. You can see the CC there, the caption. So that's clearly in Revenge of the Sith, and apparently Joby Harold didn't watch that film, didn't realize that Kenobi knew that Anakin was Darth Vader. But nevertheless, Harold would go on to explain why he wanted Kenobi to discover that Vader was still alive. I don't know if this was the Wrap, like, just messing this up, or if this was how he speaks. It doesn't really, it's kind of confusing on a grammatical level. But Harold said, "The great piece of storytelling you can use is getting to you and play the moment of realization that which haunts him is still alive. And what does that mean for him? There were many avenues that I could take him down, all of which hopefully are good opportunities to tease out our story as I tease out story as we continue. But it all comes down to, is it viable within canon to play that card?" Which it was. And so he's talking again here about Obi-Wan finding out that Anakin or Vader is still alive. And yeah, that he didn't know about that. So that is kind of fine. And his explanation, I think, works for that. I still don't like this idea that They wanted to kind of like have him haunted by this stuff. I just don't think that Obi-Wan would be haunted by. He's not the type of person to be haunted by past actions. He never was. He never was haunted by the death of Qui-Gon Jinn. He kind of buried him and moved on, took up the training of Anakin. He was never haunted by his death. So Obi-Wan isn't a character to be haunted by something, and then for them to kind of put that on him, I just don't buy that, and it just conflicts with everything we know about Obi-Wan. But apparently, a lot of people are buying into it, and they do believe that, and I guess that works for you. That works for you. It does not work for me. But then he continues saying here, which is great because that allows you at the end of episode 2 and the beginning of episode 3, it gets you so much that feels essential to the fundamental story, which is Obi-Wan, Vader, that which haunts you, facing the past, everything that comes to fruition in 3 and beyond. It was a good day when we realized we could use it and do it. It made the story active, especially for the viewer that isn't as familiar with canon as we all are. Clearly, you aren't familiar with canon, as you just made clear earlier in your interview with The Wrap, where you were having to go to Pablo Hidalgo to ask all of these questions, who seemingly gave you bad information as well. But this was the part I found also quite interesting, aside from the fact that he didn't realize that Kenobi knew who Vader was, despite it being in Revenge of the Sith. He would also praise the idea of Star Wars canon being locked down, despite throwing it out the window in every single episode of his Obi-Wan Kenobi show to date. This is what Harold said. He said, the spectacular thing about Star Wars versus some of the other big franchisee IP stuff I've been lucky enough to work on is everything's so buttoned up. In regards to canon and the things you can do and the things you can't do, very, very quickly, you find out what's on the table and what isn't. Everything's an email or a phone call away. You sort of have a big idea and you say, hey, can I do this? And someone goes, no, and you go, okay, fine. Or they say, yeah, you're allowed to do that. And then we canoodle and see if it bears fruit. And then he goes on to praise Pablo Hidalgo, saying Pablo is this sort of mad genius, and he was incredibly helpful and always available. And I'll be forever grateful for his help because you can hunt any idea if he can say, yeah, if you want, you're okay there. Clearly pointing to Pablo Hidalgo as the master of disaster when it comes to Star Wars canon. But what's like absolutely ridiculous about this statement is he's talking about how buttoned up their canon is when he's literally just like throwing things out the window when it comes to actual Star Wars canon, specifically when it comes to the original Star Wars film. I'll just list off a handful of the canon-breaking aspects that the show introduced. One is Bail Organa has a direct line to Obi-Wan Kenobi on Tatooine. That's right, he's able to communicate with him from Alderaan directly to Tatooine. This completely makes Princess Leia placing the Death Star plans into R2-D2 and tasking him with finding Obi-Wan Kenobi and getting them to the Rebel Alliance null and void. On that note, in the show's second episode, Kenobi actually rescues Princess Leia and meets her face-to-face, something that was heavily implied not to have happened in the original Star Wars film when Leia sends her message to Kenobi. So if you recall, she tells him, General Kenobi, years ago you served my father in the Clone Wars. Now he begs you to help him in his struggle against the Empire. I regret that I am unable to present my father's request to you in person, but my ship has fallen under attack, and I am afraid my mission to bring you to Alderaan has failed. I have placed information vital to the survival of the rebellion into the memory systems of this R2 unit. My father will know how to retrieve it. You must see this droid safely delivered to him on Alderaan. This is our most desperate hour. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope. So clearly she was going to Tatooine to not only retrieve Obi-Wan Kenobi to help him join the rebellion, but also clearly she wanted to get that information in the Death Star plans to her father on Alderaan. And why wouldn't she be able to just message the plans from her ship to Alderaan if you can communicate from Alderaan to Tatooine? Interstellar space communication should be available, right? If that's what they're doing. Clearly it wasn't in the original Star Wars film. I've heard people talk about jamming transmissions or anything like that, but if you know that clearly Leia's ship wasn't just always having their transmissions jammed. Vader had to track her down in his Star Destroyer in order to kind of do that. So I don't buy that explanation. I've heard some people bring that up, and I don't think that that flies. Again, here, if interplanetary communications existed, Leia could have beamed the Death Star planes to Alderaan as Bail Organa communicates with Kenobi. On top of that, her message makes it clear she was not rescued by him or has not personally met him. Her knowledge of him comes from her father. That's right. She says, General Kenobi, years ago you served my father in the Clone Wars. Now he begs you to help him in his struggle against the Empire. She's speaking for her father there. Her father seemingly is the one who's tasked her on this mission to do this, or she's taken it up, or is at least using her father's name to try and get him. It's not like, hey, remember Obi-Wan Kenobi that you rescued me when I was 10? I need your help again. Like, that's not there. The idea that she would have known Obi-Wan Kenobi is just utterly ridiculous, which kind of just undermines the entire point of the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, because the whole plot of it is him going to rescue Leia. And then, even aside from original Star Wars film, they actually had Reva kill the Grand Inquisitor in the second episode at the end. He did not die at that point in Star Wars history after being defeated by Canon in Star Wars Rebels, which takes place probably another 6 years after the events of Obi-Wan Kenobi are happening. He's defeated by Canon, and then he falls off a ledge into a fiery explosion below where he dies. As you can see here, he's about to die here and fall off. So I think this is just more evidence that Lucasfilm really has no idea what they're doing. They're listening to people that don't know what they're talking about. And I don't really think they care. And I just think this is just more evidence of this. And I think this isn't just a Star Wars or Lucasfilm problem. I think this is an overall Disney problem, because if you look at the Marvel stuff too, you see the same kind of comments from their creators as well. These people just don't care, and they're just there to get a paycheck. And the people that are in charge of them clearly have agendas, and they're using these properties to push those agendas. Kathleen Kennedy made that abundantly clear in an interview before The Force Awakens even came out. But let me know what you make of Joby Harold's comments here. My name is John Trent, and you've been watching Bounding into Comics.